All right, guys, good day and welcome to another episode of FathersFyre. My name's Jody Sedrick, and every week we get together to explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows, and yes, the fun of being a dad. And I tell you, it's been an absolutely amazing weekend and the opportunity to go sit down with Sean Hart and Will Fawcett from Involved Dad and ESA. And I tell you, there are men that are driven to become good fathers, to have an impact. And it's just super fun to be associated with men like that, because we're all driving our own businesses, right? I got day job doing Zimware. I got my guest here, Joey Riggle, that runs a detailing shop, but yet we still get to juggle being a dad. And so that's the mission behind FathersFyre, is to ignite the fire within you to become a better father, a better husband, and a better man, and be able to have an impact across your family and across the communities. And I always love when I have guests, because not only do you not just get to hear me, but you get to hear the perspective of other people. And so before I jump into that, I want to remind you that I'm part of the Speak Fire family. So make sure to check out the rest of the crew and their amazing podcast. But please give a round of a welcome to my good friend, Joey Riggle, who actually I just met recently. My friend Joe Kimball from Kimball's Hands-On Detailing recommended that I reach out to Joey, and I'm super excited. So welcome, Joey. How are you today?
Good, man. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's super fun, especially because you're at the beginning where I'm at the quote end of fatherhood, right? Because all of my kids are moving out, and you have a brand new baby girl.
Yep. Yeah. She's 5 months, man. It's pretty good.
5 months. So 5 months. What has surprised you most about being a brand new dad?
So what has surprised me the most is when Eliza, our daughter, was very first born, just how much patience it required in the very beginning. Just having to stay up all night and then, still be a loving father, still be a loving husband, and then still operate the next day and function and do all these things. And just that level of patience and still like that grit of just going through it was a lot. And it's still kind of going. I'm still learning. I'm still having to have that intense patience and stuff, but I'm learning how to adapt and kind of work with it now that we kind of have patterns and routines going. And so things are good, man. But yeah, just that level of patience was a lot to have.
Yeah, a new baby definitely disrupts the patterns.
Definitely.
What was it like that first night? When the baby's crying at 2 or 3 in the morning, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I got to get up in the morning."
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Yeah, we got back from the hospital. I think I took one day off, and we stayed up pretty much all night long trying to figure out what to do. Luckily, Chanel had some family here, so we had some help, but we were still up quite a bit. And then I still went to go do a job the next day, and it was pretty darn rough, man. It was crazy. Yeah.
You realize real quick that being a dad was a full contact sport,
Oh yeah. Yep.
and
100%.
the baby wins.
Yeah, the baby wins, man. You just got to do it. You just got to do it.
Got to do it.
Yeah.
So, as you and your wife were preparing to have a baby, that's a pretty big decision. As you and your wife had been married for 4 years, and now you're together 6. But all of a sudden you're like, all right, let's have a baby. So, what was that process like of trying to make that decision as a couple?
Um, so getting ready to have a baby, we didn't know we could have a baby at first. Chanel, my wife, has PCOS, and so that means it's just really difficult for her to have children. And so we didn't expect that we could, and we kind of came to terms with it. Um, but we were still taking tests regularly, pregnancy tests, and still trying to see if maybe it would be possible. We did a lot of praying, we did a lot of just hoping, and eventually she came out of the bathroom one day, and she had a pregnancy test and it was positive, and we were just kind of blown away, and we were crying and happy and just kind of astounded that it actually happened. And I think it's just because we have faith, and yeah, just being blessed with the baby was pretty astounding, man. So yeah.
Now, I'd like to tap in there a little bit because I think there are a lot of couples that really struggle to have that first child. Whether it's physical reasons or financial or whatever. There's a myriad of things can make it very challenging for a couple to have that first baby, and
Mhm.
especially when it's physically related and you want a baby so bad. Let's go into that, what was that process like for you and your wife, and in particular you, because I think a lot of times, the wife has a lot of support around her. Come on, you can do it, just
Mhm.
have faith, pray. And we hear a lot, just have faith and pray harder. But that doesn't make it easier.
Yeah, it's still hard. Hmm.
It doesn't make it easier. They just, oh, your faith isn't strong enough. No, my faith is strong. It just means that I'm going through a challenging period in my life. And the only thing that's getting me through it is my faith.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty wild. I think that there was a lot of not knowing when would be the right time to have a baby and when would be the right time to take the next steps, like IVF, or if we even wanted to go that route or to try to take medication to do things. We didn't really know because, I mean, we've only been in business for 2 years and it doesn't feel like the right time yet. We're still fresh, we're still new, and we're making good money and stuff, but it's still scary. It's still scary
Yeah.
thinking of having a kid. And I left a really good job to do this. And so that was kind of weighing on my mind too. Like, well, now, things are even a little bit more leery because I don't have like all those really great benefits that that job had. But now we, are our own business owners. And is this a good time to have a kid? But we just kind of did it anyways. We're like, well, will there ever be a right time? And we're almost 30. And if we want to wait until it's the perfect time, maybe we'll be 40, maybe we'll be 50, who knows, you know, when we're finally having a, whatever, And so we just kind of had faith that if we, if we're trying and if we're given a child, then, it'll be the right time. And so that's just kind of how we planned it. And of course, we have so many family members, thankfully, that have just been there for us, and people like Joe who have helped us out on the business side of things, and other business owners too that have helped us out. So we knew like we weren't just going into this without any support, that we were going to have lots of help from all sides. And so we just kind of we went for it. And then when it actually happened, that's when the ball just started rolling, man. It was just kind of crazy. And luckily, we've been supported the whole time. Like everybody who said they would help us have helped us and have loved us, and just kind of we made it work. And honestly, we just kept growing, and we've been able to support our daughter, and we've been able to like live in this happy household, and um, it's just been amazing. So,
How has having a kid affected your relationship with your wife?
um, it's definitely different, but it's amazing still. It's not as much just me and Chanel doing whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it. Now there's always like we just kind of do things as a family now rather than just as like a couple. But we still do lots of things that are like fun. We still go out to the movies. We just have family watch the baby every once, like maybe once a month or something.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I mean? But between me and my wife, I think it's brought us closer. It's definitely made us work closer as a team. Like I thought we were already a really close team before because we go out on the jobs together, we run the business together, we do, we've been together as a relationship for a long time. But now as parents, now we have to raise another human being together. And even though there's less time for personal things, we still make time for like our faith and the really important things in our life, like us doing things together outside of just being parents or other things. So
Yeah, so there's not very many couples that are business owners together. They work together, and then they're obviously parents together, and they're building a
mhm.
family together. So is that dynamic sometimes challenging? With you being together all the time, or is it just something that really works for you guys?
I think it really works for us. I don't think it would really work for everybody, but I think the style of me and Chanel's relationship just so happens to work really well together when we can work together and stuff like that. I mean, there was a period too, I think, where there was a period of time where Chanel couldn't be a part of the business, where she just had to be pregnant and she just had to like take care of that baby 24/7 because I was at working and Chanel's feeding the baby and the baby's just so little, and just now Chanel is kind of starting to help again. She started to do emails and phone calls and like business meetings and, things like that. Not out in the field with me and stuff, but that's fine. And honestly, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it'd be like if we were out in the field again together. Like, I feel like I've started to develop this pattern of like when it's me out there 8 hours a day out in the fields, like just working, and I'm the leader, you know what I mean? It'd be weird to have somebody else there, I guess, and I'm, that's something I got to think about when hiring somebody too, is how I'm going to handle that. But especially as a husband and wife combo, I think that can be like kind of difficult because at the house, she's kind of like the head of the house when it's at home. And when I'm out in the field, I'm the head of out in the field, And so now when it's like, if it would be together, I think that'd be kind of hard. But we're making it work. So it's good, man.
No, that's good, right? Because you recognize that there's a dance that you guys are doing as you're moving in and out of aspects of your life. Because I think a lot of times we hear this, this kind of mantra that we got to have work-life balance. Well, I think that's a total fallacy, right? I mean, it's like you're either working or you're with the family. And what I've learned is that when you're in the moment, whether you're detailing a car or running my software business, or, I'm doing a podcast right now, you have my attention. When I'm with my kids, right then they have my attention. And so rather than having this balance, it's really being all in to the thing that you're doing at that moment. And that can be challenging, right? Because like work can pull you all in all the time. And so that's where that balance comes in, going, all right, I got to stop and I need to go put some attention into my home life, my wife and my children, and give them the time so that they know that dad's present, that dad's here, that dad's engaged and involved in their life.
Yeah, I think that's probably the hardest thing for me right now is learning how to separate the business from my home time. I think it is probably for a lot of people. But just being home, that phone is everything. It feels like sometimes because there's customers on there, there's trying to promote yourself, there's trying to talk to people to just do things, it's just constant. It feels like, and trying to find that balance of when to put the phone down, when to just like focus on the family, and nothing else. And it's weird too, because the phone brings in income, which then allows you to supply for your family, but then it can also take you away from your family because it's like just taking your time, And so this is, it's like another dance. You got to find a way to balance all that without going nuts, I guess.
Yeah. So how are you dancing?
I'm learning how to dance.
You're learning how to dance.
Yeah.
I love that, right?
Yeah.
Because being a father is all about learning. I mean, there are so many books written about parenting and parent hacks and all these little things, but I'm telling you, there's nothing more unique than your own kid. I mean, yes, those books are helpful, but man, you get that first kid and your world is turned upside down. And yeah, you can prepare, but you can never prepare for the chaos, the beauty, the joy, the challenges of this child. And then guess what? You get that second one and you get a completely new book.
Yeah, for real, man. Yeah, it's been pretty wild learning how to change and adapt and stuff like that. But I think just being grateful every single day is probably the biggest thing that I've learned that has helped me, because I can either be upset that I'm like maybe missing out on work, or I can be upset that I'm not being able to spend time with my family. But I just try to find every single day gratitude for the fact that I have work, that I have a family, people that love me, and that things are going well, because there's been times when things were not well. And, I was still grateful during those times. So I have to be grateful right now. So.
Yeah, I think we underestimate the power of gratitude because when I truly am grateful, it changes your perspective. I mean, you can have a really tough day, but as
Mhm.
soon as you mentally go, well, I'm really grateful that I have a wife to go home to.
Mm.
I'm
Mhm.
really grateful that my kid has good health. I'm
Mhm.
grateful that my car hasn't broken down this year.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, that one was huge for me. We
yeah.
had one year where I think our car broke down 5 times in three
Mm.
months. And man, I try not to live by credit, but man, that credit card was going up because I did not have
Yep.
the cash, right?
For
And
real.
so being able to find gratitude in those moments can be really powerful, not only for you as a dad, but for you as a family.
Mhm. Yeah, it's huge, man. It's huge, especially because they say like, "Oh, they grow up so quickly, you better watch out because you blink and then they'll be an adult or something." And so I try to remember that. Like I try to like when I'm holding her, being in that moment and just thinking like, because we were just looking at pictures of her from when she was a newborn, and I'm like, I don't even recognize her, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's only been 5 months, and I feel like it's just yesterday that she was born. And so I try to hold on to most moment every moment, and just think like this is amazing, and it still feels so fresh, and I feel still kind of out of it, like it's still a whirlwind. But just being in that moment and saying like I'm grateful for this is really grounding and helpful.
Yeah, I tell you, I was talking to my daughter earlier today, and she's in her second year of college, and I was just watching her, and I'm like, she's like, Dad, I'm gonna be 20. She's like, how can I be 20? And then she
Yeah.
goes, you're getting old. I go, yeah, I know. Um,
Bro.
but it's like you blink and they're 12, you blink and they're in college, and
Mm,
taking advantage of every moment is so critical. And we've always been a family that's really tried to make sure that we've had time together as a family. When our kids were growing up, very little, I would wake them up. I would, as I'm waking them up, I'd sing these silly songs that I made up that drove them
mhm,
crazy. And at night, I would read them stories and I would sing to them, pray with them. But we always, every Monday night was family night. We would do something together as a family. And then on the weekend, Judy and I would always go on date night on Friday night, and then we do something with the kids on Saturday. And
mm,
so making sure that we were very intentional about setting aside time for our children and also for each other. Having that date night, but also having the time with the kids was really, really important. And I look back and I'm so grateful that we were disciplined to do that, because I know so many people that look back and go, wow, I blinked and they're old. And boy, I wish I had a little bit more memories. And I look back and I have tons of memories that
mm,
we were able to share together because Judy and I were very purposeful through the process.
mm. That's amazing, man. Yeah, that's how I want to be able to look back on things and think, not that I regret like working so much or that I missed so much. I want to be able to think like I really enjoyed her childhood and the early parts of our marriage and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to look back and think I really enjoyed it and made the most out of it. So,
Yeah, that's good. It's exciting. Well, looking ahead, your daughter's 5 months. What are you trying to become as a
mm,
dad? I don't think we look at that very often, and I know I didn't. Right. So if I could go back to when my kid was 6 months and I could ask myself, what kind of dad do I need to become? And maybe I asked myself, but I don't specifically remember that question. Looking ahead, what kind of dad are you hoping to be to your daughter?
I'm hoping to be a good leader in the sense that I can help direct her into like what our faith. I really want to show her our faith because I feel like that's what saved my life and what's guided me into where I am today. I feel like being a father who's there for her because I didn't have a father. You know what I mean? A lot of guys didn't, and just being able to somebody that she like can look up to and love and think like, I love this person and I'm just so happy that they're in my life. I just want to be that person for her, and not somebody that she's afraid of or wishes that they knew, or is like, why is he so, this or that. I want to just be that person that they look up to and love, and are happy to be around and stuff like that. And if they ask questions, I can answer them and not hold back, and have an honest relationship with my daughter like that. Yeah, that's just kind of what I want to do.
Yes, I like that, because I think there are a lot of men, and I've talked to a lot of men, where they wish they would have done more, right? And I guess when I hear that, the thing that always comes to mind to me is, just because you didn't do it yesterday doesn't mean you can't start today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love that you said your faith changed your direction. It changed your course, right? And so, whether it's your faith or whether it's an internal decision, you have the power from today to move in the direction of the dad that you would like to become.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is it that you really want to become? And I'm asking this to the men that are listening, because we just heard what you're trying to become. It's, you can decide to become the dad that you wish you would have been. Just because the ripples of chaos and destruction were in your past doesn't mean that they can't become healed.
Mm-hmm.
It may take you time. It may take you consistency. It may take you proving that you are becoming the man that your kids had wished for and hoped for, but it's not too late.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important, that, and that's why I love Sean Hart so much, is he's working with men that are coming out of, really challenging situations. They've been disconnected from their families, from their kids, and he's trying to create a bridge to reunite those kids. And so I just think it's so important that all of us dads, that we tap into that there is hope starting today.
Mm-hmm.
That will lead into hope and reality into a future, if you will just exercise the faith and take the steps necessary to become the man that you hope you will be, that you envision, and that your kids and your wife are hoping that you'll become.
Yeah.
So I know, so just in these final moments as we wrap up, so you're 5 months into it, right? So what advice, now that you're a seasoned father of 5 months, what advice would you give to other dads?
The biggest advice that I would have is to I'd say for me, having a higher power is extremely important, no matter what your higher power is. Being able to talk to somebody who can't fail you, who will always love you, and you could talk to when nobody else will talk to you, I think is the most important thing you could have in your life. And also to not be afraid to be who you are in front of your family and your daughter or your kids or whatever. I feel like there's a lot of just over trying to act or play the super masculinity type of figure in a kid's life. And I feel like that can kind of hold people back from being just a happy parent around their kid, and at least that's how I see it. And for me, I don't do that. I just am who I am. I'm goofy. I'm silly. I'm Joey around my daughter and my wife and stuff like that. I don't try to hide something or hide my emotions. I just show it all to them, even though I'm kind of a shy person and stuff like that at home, I'm totally open. Because that's my biggest piece of advice: higher power and be yourself around your kids.
I love that. There's real power in having God in your life, right? And I'm, our family is very centered on our faith, and so I appreciate that counsel. But I want to tap into that. Be you, right? Because I think a lot of times we as dads, we look at what other dads are doing and we compare ourselves instead of just being us. Your kids need you. They
Yeah.
need you if you're goofy or silly. They need you if you're the sport dad or the scientific dad or the music dad. Quit comparing yourself to other people and tap into you, because guess what? God, you gave you a kid that needs your personality,
Mm-hmm.
that needs you as their dad. So
Yeah.
embrace you.
That's right.
Embrace you, because you are enough. You're exactly what your kid needs. And believe it or not, what he really needs more than anything, not toys or money or a house, is he needs you.
Mm-hmm. That's right, man.
So tap
Mm-hmm.
in and let that kid see you. So go be silly, go be goofy, go take him to McDonald's, whatever is you. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking the time to visit with me, because it's so fun talking to somebody on at the beginning of the spectrum, and I'm at the stage where my kids are going to college and none of them are married yet, but it's fun to see them like building on their dreams, right? And seeing what
Mm-hmm.
they'll become. It's like I always tell them, it's like, look, I gave you everything that I could to empower you, work ethic and, faith and all this stuff. You get to build on that. And so go show me what you can do. And it's really amazing to watch them become who they dream of and who God intended them to be, to tap into those gifts. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to thank you for taking the time to visit with me. So, guys, this is Joey Riggle. So he owns detailing shop, Rising Sun Detail. And where are you located? Because if you're listening to this and you need a detail and you're in this area, you should give him a shout. Where are you at?
In Bremerton, Washington.
Where's that again?
Bremerton, Washington, kind of in the Kitsap County area,
Oh,
Western
cool.
Washington. Yeah.
So how do people find you?
So we have a website, risingsundetail.com. We also have Facebook, Instagram, and all of our information is listed on those platforms. So
That's good. Well, I'm so grateful that you took the opportunity. Want to give your wife a thank you for helping us on the technology side as well. Oh, look at that baby girl! Look at you. She's so
make
beautiful.
a little appearance real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Look at those beautiful eyes, man. That's so awesome. Actually, I think this is the first time, other than my daughter, who's been a guest on my podcast, that I've
Oh,
had a baby on the podcast. So this is super fun.
cool, man. There you go. First time.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. You have a fantastic day. And
Mm-hmm.
you guys that are listening, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys tapping in every week, and it's really the whole purpose of this podcast is to ignite the fire within you to become a better father, better husband, and a better man in the community. So we will check you same time, same bat channel, just next week. See ya. You're such a cutie. That baby's awesome, man.
Thanks, man.
So,